Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Saturday, July the 13th, 2024, and I would like to welcome you all to This Is Just a Thought with Stephen Corner-Gay. Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday or will enjoy their Saturday. Man, we made it to the end of the work week. The weekend is here. The weekend is here. I hope everyone is enjoying that weekend or will enjoy that weekend. Time off from work. Time off from work. Much needed. Much needed. Just is. Just is. All right. Today's word of the day, saga, which means an ancient Icelandic narrative or a complicated story. Saga. How many sagas have you heard in your lifetime? I know I've heard quite a few. Quite a few. Hey, before I go any further, as always, hit that like and subscribe button along with that bell icon so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. A lot of interesting topics. I would hate for you guys to miss out on it. I would. And also get in that comment section and let me know what you guys think about the topics I'm talking about. Are they good, bad, ugly, whatever, what have you? I got a few comments on a couple of podcasts I've done. Very surprising. I usually don't get them. So, hey, it's, for the most part, it seems like most people are enjoying the content. So, hey, I need some more. Get in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Whether it's yay or nay, good or bad, shut up, continue on, whatever the case may be, I won't bite, I won't bite. I am pretty leveled headed and thick skinned. Won't spaz out like so many people are doing in this day and age, but get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that like and subscribe button and that bell icon also. Hey, temps here in North Carolina. Yesterday we got some rain, and the temperatures were in the 80s. I gotta admit, it did kind of feel kind of good, even though it was quite humid. Hey, couldn't escape it. We just couldn't escape it. But we needed that rain. We needed that rain, and it was much welcomed. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it started. What was that? Thursday night. That and then the downpours. Woke up Friday. It was raining a little bit, but later on it kind of died off or fizzled out. But man, it was much needed. It was. It was. That rain was so relaxing. It really was. It really was. Like I said, the temps yesterday were in the 80s, upper 80s, but back to the grind. Back to the grind we are, because the real feel today is 101. And tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they said it's going to be like 104. Like I said earlier, there's no need to give you the tips. I'll just give you the real feel. 101 today, and man, the real feel, if you've been out there in it, when the temps are real feel above 100, you can tell immediately. So much so, by Tuesday, I believe, the real feel is going to be 114 degrees. If you ain't got to be outside Tuesday, don't go. If you don't have to be outside Tuesday, don't go. Yeah, real feel Tuesday is going to be 114 degrees. But there's a little light at the end of the tunnel, if I could say that, because by Thursday we're going to get some more showers and temperatures are going to fall a little bit. But we just got to make it through at least Tuesday, man. 114 degrees. If you ain't got to be out, don't go out. Don't go out. And if you do got to be out, as always, you know the saying, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Sunscreen, hat on your head, limit your time outside. And as always, man, hey, recognize the signs of heat exhaustion versus heat stroke. Just do. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Get you some water. Keep some water on you. I keep water on me. I just do. And I have noticed over the years, a lot of other people do the same. Hey, at the end of your work day or whatever, you get your water bottle, put it in the freezer overnight, if you can stand it like that. Or put it in the refrigerator. Make sure it's nice and cool and cold. Gotta have that water, man, especially doing this. Water, Gatorade, Pedialyte, whatever the case may be, man. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Don't get caught slipping. Don't get caught slipping. Because this heat, it ain't no punk. It ain't no joke. It will manhandle you. Don't care how big and bad and how in shape you think you are. This heat is a totally different beast. It just is. It just is. And also, hey, check on the elderly. See what they're up to. Make sure they're staying cool and hydrated also. As always, we know the elderly folks, they won't turn on that air conditioner to save their life. They will not. They'll tell you quick, that's going to affect my bones and my joints. And I'll be just fine sitting here in front of this box fan. If it works for you, it works for you. But yeah, check on your elderly neighbors and relatives also. They can be quite stubborn sometimes, I know. But hey, check in on them. Just do. All right, let's move along here, man. A very interesting story. It came out of Oregon. Looks like now officials have to notify some 2,400 patients that were seen at 3 medical centers between 2017 and 2023 that they may have been infected with hepatitis B and or C or even HIV due to an anesthesiologist who may have not followed infection control practices. Wow. In a statement released yesterday, officials at Providence Portland Medical Center said they have to notify these patients that were seen by this doctor, this anesthesiologist, because of his lack or flat out whatever, what have you, his practice that he didn't follow procedures and protocol for infectious disease control. You know, he was an anesthesiologist. He was administering anesthesia through intravenously. And they said he didn't follow the program. They didn't give a specific give specifics as to what he did or didn't do. They just said he didn't follow infectious disease protocol. Could have been he didn't sterilize something. Who knows? Now, what the medical center says that, like I said, it has to notify patients that were seen there because of this doctor's actions. Although it be low risk, there is a risk of exposure. Although they're saying, hey, it's a low risk of exposure, we still got to notify these people in case they were exposed. Now, all of the patients, of course, are encouraged to take a free blood test that's going to be administered by these health facilities and I guess the county with their end, the county Department of Health and Human Services. And if they are infected by chance, they will be notified via mail. And if they're notified via mail that they have been infected, that's when they'll start the necessary steps for treatment and let them know what exactly they have and how to get treated. Now, the physician or this anesthesiologist who started all of this worked at what is called Mount Hood Medical Center in Gresham. I'm sorry. He worked there apparently for 6 months starting back in 2023. And Legacy Health also is sending notices out to their 221 patients. So he worked at these 3 medical facilities, anesthesiologist. I guess he traveled around, went into the surgery, the surgery rooms or whatever you have you administering this intravenous IV for anesthesiologists. He was terminated back in 2023. Although his name has not been released, of course, he does have rights. He does have rights. He was terminated when it was discovered of his negligence of violating the infection control practices. At first, he was suspended, and then came the investigation, and he was terminated. Now, what they're saying again, they continue to emphasize, although it be low risk, there are new protocols and procedures that have been put in place to prevent similar incidents like this happening again. So, for those that are saying that could quite possibly be infected with this hepatitis B B and C, along with this HIV. They're strongly urging and encouraging these patients, if they notify you via mail, or even if you think you might have been seen before you get that notice, hey, go get that blood test. Find out what is going on. You gotta know. There's no need to be afraid. I would, like I always say, I would rather know than not know. Wow, this guy. Like I said, it doesn't say what he did or didn't do. A quick guess for me, I'm thinking it had something to do with sterilizing. That's the most logical thing that comes to mind to me. He didn't sterilize something, or he may have had a continuous practice of not sterilizing, because they said after they, hey, 3 different medical facilities, somebody must have caught wind or caught a glimpse of what he was doing, and now they got to notify 20 well over 200 over 2,400 patients of what was going on. That's pretty big. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Just is. Hey, well, looks like actor Alec Baldwin is a free man after a judge dismissed the charge of involuntary manslaughter. This came about after a fatal shooting of a cinematographer on the set of a film he was filming back in 2021. Apparently, what they're saying, and I never quite understood how he could be charged, because there was already an admission that, one, he wasn't responsible for handling the ammunition on the set. Ammunition that you would think, if a movie set, automatically you're thinking the ammunition is going to be slugs, blanks. But somehow, some way, they determined, or they decided to prosecute him. What they're saying he did that was wrong was he put his hand on the trigger when he wasn't supposed to, and he squeezed the trigger, setting off an active round, a live round. But how did the live round get there? Who was handling the ammunition? Or the fake ammunition? How did a live round get in there? That's why I never understood why he was liable. I guess they're saying because he actually pulled that trigger, and they're saying he wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to just hold on to the trigger guard and give the appearance that he was squeezing the trigger. I don't know how you do that. And it ended up there was a live round in there, and they charged him. And he killed a cinematographer, a young lady. Like I said, I never understood how he could be charged. At best, it just seemed like it was just a horrible incident. The loss of any life, of course, is tragic, but I just didn't see him being the culprit or liable. I think it should be the prop director or the director as a whole. Isn't there supposed to be some protocol in place where you check this equipment before you actually start shooting? Or maybe all three of them were on trial. I don't know. Well, how it got kicked out is very interesting. Once again, prosecutorial misconduct. It was discovered that evidence, those bullets and some more bullets, somehow, some way, they got mishandled. I'm not sure if they got tangled up together or apparently they got mislabeled. Now, Alec Baldwin's defense team wasn't notified, and when they did find out what had happened, they flew into action. They immediately went into court and notified the judge that they had just discovered that evidence, those bullets or some other bullets, either had got mixed up or got mislabeled, and there needed to be, and quite frankly, I can't fault them for this. I mean, this is basic law here, folks. If evidence is mishandled or mislabeled, how do you know what you got? How do you know what you're looking at? How do you know that is the correct evidence against the client? So his attorneys got together, they stood in front of the judge, and they flat out asked for a mistrial and asked that the charges be dismissed without prejudice. And if the charges are dismissed without prejudice, which the judge agreed, you can't retry him for this incident. Can't be retried. Somebody screwed up. Somebody screwed up big time. Now the prosecutor, she had to take the stand, and she told the judge, "Yes, I was aware there was a possible mix-up. The evidence got mislabeled, or whatever. I didn't really say how long she knew that this evidence was mislabeled or mishandled, but apparently she took a while. She drug her feet, or her team drug their feet, in notifying Alec Baldwin's defense team. That ain't no quagmire. Now you see how that trial got kicked out, how those charges got dismissed. Prosecutorial misconduct 101. That's how a lot of cases get kicked out. Prosecutorial misconduct. I mean, maybe you got to say to yourself, and I often say this sometimes, maybe it's an arrogance on these prosecutors to think they got a slam dunk case. Well, if you got such a slam dunk case, I would think, maybe this is just me, I would think you would make sure you had all your ducks in a row, all your T's crossed, and your I's dotted before you step foot in front of that judge in that courtroom. Because, hey, like I said, once Alec Baldwin's defense team found out what had happened, once the evidence was presented to him, finally, they immediately went in front of the judge. Now, this was mid-trial. This trial didn't just start. The trial has been going on for a month or so, if I'm not mistaken, if not longer. So that's the question. That's why I'm asking, how long did this prosecution team know that this evidence had been mishandled? Good thing it wasn't, and I'm not making light of the situation. Like I said, it was a horrible incident. That young lady died doing her job, something she loved. But good thing this wasn't a high-profile murder charge here, folks. A true murderer could have got away. Like I said, I'm not making light of this. This is horrible. It was a tragic incident. When I first heard it, I was like, oh my, good Lord. But what if this had been something that spawned out of something really, really, and truthfully horrible and horrific? And the prosecutor and her team, or the police, because I believe that's what they're saying, the police mishandled the evidence or mislabeled the evidence. So much so, I believe they got it mixed up with the real versus the fake, or they couldn't tell. Still doesn't erase the fact, the number one question for me, how in the hell did live ammunition get on that movie set? It's not even supposed to be there. It's a movie. Well, they're saying that, hey, a lot of times on that movie set, they would go out, they were in the desert, they were in New Mexico, and they would shoot live rounds. They were bored. They were on set, on location. But still, I think you would keep that separate, your job from your personal hobbies. Seems feasible to me. Seems feasible to me. And then again, what do I know? What do I know? What do I know? But yeah, Alec Baldwin is free. And of course, he began weeping when he found out he was going to go to jail and wasn't going to face a retrial. Because when it's dismissed without prejudice, you can't drum it back up. No matter what other evidence you find. You can't. Does this? Quite possibly. He wasn't found guilty. It was a mistrial. They kicked it out. That young lady's family may go after him for civil charges, or they may go after that armor handler and that director. That would be who I would go after. I'm not saying because I'm a fan of Alec Baldwin or he's an actor, he gets a pass. I'm not saying it like that, but ultimately, I think it's the director and that armor handler that is responsible for that young lady's passing. How the hell did that ammunition get mixed up? Live versus dummy rounds. But it does, if you think about it, it can open the door for civil litigation. And when I say civil, somehow, some way, they find out that he is liable. And there's restitution. Could happen. All right, we're going to move along here. Also, Wow. Fallout continues with old President Biden. He gave that press conference Thursday, like I told you guys. And now, last I heard, or it might be some more by now, it stands at 17 Democrats that are calling for him to step aside. And also, President Biden went on a conference call with the Hispanic caucus, and one of the members of the Hispanic caucus flat out said, hey, you need to step aside, step down. Uh, Everyone that is saying hey, for him to step down or step aside in the Democratic Party say they have no quarrels with him and with the job he has done, but it's obvious to them he may not be the best candidate to face Donald Trump. And he needs to step down, step aside. Because at that press conference, well, before he even gave the press conference, I believe they were in a meeting or another press conference or whatever, and he was introducing, or they were in the middle of the conference of the NATO summit, and he mistakenly introduced the president of Ukraine as Putin. So he got President Zelensky mixed up with Putin. That started the ball a rolling. Started the ball a rolling. And then during the press conference, when he was asked a question, do you think Vice President Kamala Harris is more suited, or do you believe she's suited to run for president of the United States? He got confused, or he misspoke again. He said that first of all, he thinks that Vice President Trump is a great vice president, but he doesn't think she's qualified to run the country. Yeah, you heard me right. He mistakenly called his vice president Donald Trump. And as the press conference went on, I got to say it did look good, but he did have a few missteps, miscues, and misquotes. It wasn't as bad as the debate. Let's put it like that. But but of course after that, there of course there was a call. Many folks, many Democrats were still saying, "Hey, he has to go." Um, but just regular citizens. Another thing that's came out, there's a lot of polls out, but it looks like President Trump may have a small, slim lead. Like I told you guys before, months ago, Biden was in the lead. Trump was trailing behind, chugging along, trying to play catch up. After that debate, after this press conference, and hey, just little slip ups here and there, it looks like President Trump has caught up with him. Do I think President Biden should step down or step aside? Who am I to say? Who am I to say? But there are some Democrats, there's high-ranking Democrats, delegates, that are asking him to step down and step aside. Regular citizens, they seem to be behind him. Of course, there are some that are saying, hey, it may be time for him to step aside, step down. And I believe somewhere I read an article that someone said, hey, this has never happened in American politics. Maybe not outwardly, maybe not in front of the camera or cameras, but if you go back in history and you pay close attention to the Reagan administration, his second term, we now know he had Alzheimer's, or the beginning, dementia. But his administration, how they handled it, they limited his time in front of that damn camera. They just kept giving press release. He really wasn't in front of that camera like that. So how is it that President Biden keeps getting in front of the camera? Well, he allowed old former President Donald Trump to go into that damn debate, and there it went. There it went. There it went. It was exposed. I haven't really heard anything from President Trump about this. I mean, he started all this gangster, calling Joey Boy old, telling him he was, saying that he was slow to the draw. His mental capacity wasn't there. He's old. He's senile. You guys remember, it was Trump that spurred all this up, that got this barrage of statements and insults. He was the one that started this quest to prove that President Biden was old. He was senile. He was geriatric. He did. He just did. It was him that started, but we haven't heard anything from him about this. You would think he would be all over it like a rabid pit bull, but he hasn't. He may be waiting for that Republican National Convention that starts Monday. I believe that's what he's doing. He's waiting. Oh boy, he would. I can't see him backing off now. I just can't. And then again, maybe that is me. Maybe that's me. But I can't see former President Trump backing off now. Now he has all the ammunition he needs. He has all the evidence. He can go on a rant and a rave, and he can keep playing that debate and that press conference over and over again, along with that sit-down interview with George Stephanopoulos. That didn't go too well either. Many say it did. It went all right, but it really didn't go too well. And they're saying that this press conference that he gave the other day went better than they expected. Yes, it did. But there were still some slip-ups there. Like I said, I can't tell you if he should step down and step aside. Many in the Democratic Party are saying, hey, we're still behind him. We still support him. Whatever the case may be, he's going to be our nominee in August. And they're already questioning, or some are hinting at that, hey, it could be Vice President Kamala Harris and even former First Lady Michelle Obama. I really don't see former First Lady Michelle Obama entering politics. I don't think she likes politics like that. I could be mistaken. Maybe that's her end game. I just don't think she cares that much for politics. And then there's even some that are saying that, hey, that's who former President Obama, he really wants Kamala Harris in there, or maybe even his wife. Maybe he does, but I just don't see his wife doing it. I just don't. I think people are just talking. But like I said, the most logical person to come into play, if President Biden does decide to step down, or if by some chance, some strange happenstance, during that Democratic National Convention coming up in August, he doesn't get the nominee, Kamala Harris is next in line. You would think, or you would expect. So we'll see where that goes. We will see where this goes. Certainly is, just like I told you guys at the beginning of the year, and the end of last year, I told you, I think this presidential election cycle here is going to be very interesting. And it surely is shaping up to be that. You gotta admit. You just do. Didn't see all this coming. I really didn't. I just didn't. Naivete on my part. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of cheap, tawdry political campaign ads and insults going back and forth. I didn't see this coming. Where it would shake, very well could shake the foundation of the Democratic Party. Not let alone it could shake the presidential race in politics as a whole. The international community is watching, not just us here in the United States. Got to be honest, they're watching. Just had that NATO summit, and if you know anything about NATO, it is extremely beneficial for President Biden to stay in office, because President Trump has made it clear, even during his first administration, even when he was running for president before his first term, he made it clear he wasn't a fan of NATO or the UN. So for NATO, the UN, President Biden needs to stay in office. Wow. Like I said, this is shaping up to be a very interesting campaign year. It just is. It just is. All right, let's go get it. If you've been following This Is Just a Thought, and I'm gonna get out of here quick. You've been following this is just thought, I told you guys during COVID about all those PPP loans and COVID relief, all this free money that was being thrown around by the government, stimulus checks. And I made this statement. I said, you know what? There's a lot of folks that are getting these PPP loans that really don't have a business. They really don't have employees. There's personal protection payroll loans that was given out by the United States government to help these struggling businesses because of the governmental the shutdown because of COVID. A lot of folks were without jobs. A lot of folks had jobs before, and then COVID came along, had the quarantine in place, so the jobs were lost. So the government said, hey, we're going to give these businesses these PPP loans. And if you remember, I told you then, and I'm saying it again, and I've said it numerous times after that, Uncle Sam the way I know Uncle Sam. He don't give you nothing for free. He's going to loop back around and check on, and he wants some accounting of his funds. And that is what's happening here in North Carolina. There are quite a few people that are being investigated for fraud. There's about 2 cases here in Durham, and then there's this one in Wake County, Garner to be more specific. And that's like those cases here in Durham. This gentleman here in Garner, apparently he received 13 disaster loans totaling 1.5 mil. That's like those other 2 cases in Durham. They didn't get a few thousand, they got millions. What has been discovered is what they're saying is although the company did have a physical address, it was a total hoax. Apparently, he may not have had all the employees he said he did. He was arrested by FBI agents and is now in federal custody. What he was doing was using what is called shell companies. If you know anything about shell companies, you know they're really not there. That there's pretty much physical addresses. A lot of paperwork. You apply for a tax ID number, that's given, or you already got one. He really didn't have. Apparently he really didn't have an active business operator's license. He also filed some false tax returns during his loan application. All you gotta do is get the paperwork. You can do that online, or if you need a physical paper, you can run it off online. And he also submitted false quarterly reports that was never received by the state's unemployment office. So this guy was going across the board. He was filing fake taxes. He was coming up with this fake payroll, the pay stubs. Just run the list. if you're going to falsify some stuff, if you're going to get all this free money, you might as well run the gamut, run the list. Don't half-ass it. Complete the task, and that is what he was doing. By using fake payroll records, he convinced banks to approve and forgive some of his loans. So he was getting getting PPP loans from the government, so much so 1.5 million, and he also went to the banks and he provided some false payroll records, and they forgave some loans also. Now, I'm trying to figure out what was the business. What they're saying is that he had 7 companies in Garner and Raleigh, like I said, that received 13 disaster loans totaling $1.5 million. Whatever the case may be, these shell companies, it really didn't say. All it says is it was called the insurance centers. Wow. At least that was the physical address of the office. So, at this point, he's been arrested. They seized the bank accounts. He's been charged with wire fraud and money laundering. faces 9 counts of wire fraud and will remain in custody until a detention hearing that is scheduled Monday. And then apparently Monday, this judge, wherever he goes, he's in Fed custody. Chances are, buddy, he won't stay there. If he can be free, or if he can, he has to stay in jail to await trial. Chances are, buddy, you gonna stay in there. You were just running amok. You just were. You just were. This is going on throughout North Carolina, like I said, and I'm going to keep you guys updated on this, and I'm going to talk more about those 2 cases here in Durham. I just wanted to get up here and talk to you guys real quick about that because, like I told you guys 2, 3, 4 years ago, the feds always come back and they look for their money. If you ain't got their money, they want some accounting. They want to know where their money has gone. They don't give you anything free. You think you're getting something free from the federal government, you better think again. It ain't a reach around. It's accountability. They got to account to somebody. They got to explain why they have so much money that was dished out. And they got to know what happened to it. So there's a lot more cases that are coming up. Like I told you, there's about 2 cases here in Durham with some lawyers. And if you remember, if you've been listening to This Is Just a Thought, I also told you about 2 or 3 years ago about also, it was a case of Medicaid fraud / PPP loans also for a doctor and what she was doing. And she got these loans for her businesses or a doctor's office or clinics. Supposed to have been treating kids, or that was Medicaid fraud. Same difference, if you think about it, because she was getting Medicaid and she had also got some